Streaming is so good these days, it's really giving movies a run for their money. Not just at the box office, with many people opting to stay home and watch what's streaming instead, but even during awards season, people are paying just as much attention to the TV side of things. And that had not been the case for quite some time. Oh, everybody loves healthy competition. And sure enough, 2023 delivered another batch of exceptional entertainment. Basically, 8 to 10 hour movies. Oh boy! Plus, all the streaming services are competitive, I would say, with almost every major streamer making it onto my list, except for Peacock. I'm sorry, Poker Face. You were so close to making the list. That was a great show. Loved it. And I think the best show that Peacock has had to date. All right, so here's my top 10, and as always, I'm excited to see your own lists down below. TV's a little harder to do. I mean, I almost had a little trouble filling my top. No, that's not true. I think like 1 or 2 movies didn't make my top 10 movie list that I also enjoyed, but this was tough. All right, number 10, Fargo Season 5, FX Hulu. That's right, I'm going to tell you where each show airs if you'd like to go check it out. And I recommend, obviously, all of these. It's so good to have this show back. Seasons 1 and 2 were phenomenal. Remember when Fargo was a thing? In some ways, I think even better than the original film, at least in retrospect. I was flying home on vacation recently, and I watched Fargo on the plane ride back. And it was pretty good, but it wasn't as good as seasons 1 and 2 of the Fargo show. That kind of, ruined the movie for me. But then the show went further and further off the rails with seasons 3 and 4. But season 5, with exceptional casting, has a Long Kiss Goodnight meets Home Alone meets Yellow Jackets vibe to it, and it's really fantastic. It really brings the show right back to that sweet spot. Frustratingly, I only got 8 of the 10 episodes in advance, so I still have to see how it all plays out. I burned through them. I was having such a good time with the show, and I was like, oh boy, I'm going to find out the ending. And I was like, that can't be the end, and I saw that there were still 2 episodes left. Oh, darn it! But the absurdity of the world of Fargo, mixed with some excellent commentary on middle America today and domestic violence, quite brave and I think important commentary, it makes for quite the cocktail. We expect great things from most of this cast. As I said, this is a phenomenal cast, but I think there are 3 excellent, unexpected flourishes that I want to give a shout out to. Dave Foley as a lawyer/fixer, loved him on this show. Loved his look, that eye patch is everything. Joe Keery, who I finally see as someone besides Steve Harrington, thanks to this show. I mean, he's been trying to kind of break out of that mold. He's great as Steve Harrington, but he can't be Steve Harrington forever. And I finally see a future for him outside of that character. He's fantastic on this show. And then also Lamorne Morris, who usually does broader comedy, but here he's absolutely killing it as an understated state trooper with a heart of gold. Love him on this show. Fantastic character. All right, number 9, The Gilded Age, Season 2 on HBO Max. I had to put it on here because I love it so much. I was like, nobody watches this show. I know some of you do. But I was like, nobody watches it. Do I really want to take a space for this? And I'm like, yes, I do, because I love it so. It's Real Housewives meets the History Channel. So to me, that is just an absolute delight. Season 1 was also amazing, but with Season 2, the show leans more into the soap opera angle and I think is better for it. I hope it helps its ratings because I want that Season 3, which it sets up so beautifully, although it still has not been able to garner any attention on social media when it airs, even now that it's moved to the coveted HBO Sunday night spot. I guess it's not very tweetable, but people tweeted about Downton Abbey, although that had been on for much longer by the time it finally became tweetable. Christine Baranski is supposed to be the Maggie Smith of the show. This is from the creator of Downton Abbey, thus the comparisons. And maybe she is, but I think the engine of the show is new money power couple, George and Bertha Russell, sparked to life by Morgan Spector and Carrie Coon. They're so good on the show. And I love the American, let's say, ambition that the Gilded Age showcases. While on Downton Abbey, everyone is more or less content with their station and they just have to suck it up and find a way to make it work for them. Here, everyone has a chance to reshape their own future, and they're acting on that chance. And I think it's really exciting to watch. I think they particularly dig into that on Season 2, which I really think is fantastic. Number 8, The Diplomat, Netflix. This is another great show. I'm glad to see it getting some awards love too, because it really is that good. We've seen a lot of movies and TV shows about men operating in the political space, but so few about women, so it's refreshing with The Diplomat, although it doesn't sacrifice any of the thrilling aspects of all the other movies and shows that focus on a male lead. So it has everything it's supposed to, it's just centering around a woman. But not to say there aren't strong male characters on the show as well. It's a very well balanced show in terms of gender and I would say also diversity. Kerry Russell plays the woman behind the man who, thanks to the bad behavior of the man, has to become the one out front. And Rufus Sewell ends up playing the man behind the woman. That's a fascinating dynamic. And Sewell excels at playing the brilliant cad. And here he is given many opportunities to do so, especially because he doesn't really like being in the back. He's great. It's really strong. And I think it also, I was going to say some of the other things that it speaks to, but one of the things that I didn't think of until just now is that I think it speaks to the dynamics in a power couple where, both of them are operators. Usually, one person is the front person and everyone's just trying to make that person do the best that they can, for the overall group. With the idea that everyone will come along with them. But this is a situation where now both parties want to operate in the space themselves and how that both is good and bad. So for them as a couple. And so I think that's really interesting to see. Because, feminism always talks about, a power couple, that'd be great. But I think, there hasn't been a lot of exploration of the ups and downs of that reality. All right, so many of us loved The Americans, where Kerry Russell and her real-life partner Matthew Rhys, his show was canceled. Perry Mason almost made my list. I love Perry Mason. They played a married couple who were secretly Russian spies, and it's great to see Russell back as part of another couple who, while they might be more legit, they are legit, they still find themselves in cloak and dagger situations, including not just political intrigue, but actual danger. I mean, the opening episode of the series, I was like, wow, they came to play. The stakes are high, not just for the Western world, but also can Russell's Kate Weiler actually work her way into the vice presidency? They came up with a funny way that you might be able to get in that doesn't involve an election. It was fun. I can't wait for season 2, which they set up really, really well. All right, number 7, GenV on Prime Video. Nobody thought a spinoff of The Boys would work, especially after the horrible CW-esque trailers that they ran for this show. Criminal. But what do you know? GenV is just as good as The Boys. Who saw that coming? And in some ways, even more intriguing, as it solves some of the criticism that The Boys has had to deal with, namely a lack of diversity and an argument that The Boys leans slightly to the right, or at least has in the past. Even if it does so inadvertently. It's interesting. But so just like the characters it depicts, GenV was engineered to bring the TikTok generation into The Boys universe. Homelander memes can't do all the heavy lifting, even though they do quite a bit. And it worked! The real Guardians of Godolphin have become just as popular as the Seven. That to me is amazing. Nobody's still quite as popular as Homelander, but I see some real potential here. And with the shows so tightly interwoven, fans have been impressed. Everybody's been impressed with how the Boys cinematic universe is being built. It's funny because Marvel has tried to do the same thing. Build a cinematic universe and become more diverse. Yet they haven't had nearly the same success as The Boys have. Maybe because The Boys was a little slower and more methodical about it. I think Kevin Feige tried to have a big bang and it blew up in his face. All right, so anyway, bring on the next spinoff. They're doing another one, but get this. Not only does it take place in Mexico, but it will be a Spanish language show. Absolutely brilliant. Brilliant! And no other Hollywood franchise has done this, switching to a different language. The Boys, they are cutting edge. All right, number 6, Loki Season 2, Disney+. Not everyone loved Season 2 as much as I did, but I think by the time the final 2 episodes rolled around, everyone was on board with them. With many exclaiming, this is what the MCU is supposed to be. So how fitting and how ironic that the season finale aired the same day that the Marvels opened in theaters. And some would argue presenting both the best and worst of the MCU. And offered certainly a fork in the road for Kevin Feige, with fans making it quite clear which road they would like him to continue down. And bravo to Tom Hiddleston. A lot of this is due to Tom Hiddleston, who, realizing that Loki is vital to his career and legacy, has taken great care of the character and shepherded him to his strongest incarnation yet. Who'd have ever guessed that we would get to a point where Thor needed an image assist from Loki? That's amazing. Loki remains one of the best MCU Disney Plus shows and a reminder of what they were supposed to bring to Feige's cinematic universe. Also, Ke Huy Quan was a fantastic addition to the TVA, playing off of Hiddleston and Owen Wilson exceptionally well. And by the way, Mobius is coming back, right? Right? Oh, he's got to come back. I love Mobius. And they all have to come back. And they were saying this was the end of the show, but I'm hoping it's just for awards. All right, because everyone feels a little different about your show if it's the end, not that it's going to continue forever. Because although as I've always been saying lately, just tell that to Bob Odenkirk. They didn't care about the end of his show. All right, so number 5, Winning Time, Season 2, HBO Max. Both seasons of this show were incredible, a heady mix of sports and business storytelling, reminding you that professional sports are a business. Oh, I love it. It's like the box office discussion of sports. I love it so much. To see how the Lakers literally changed the game, in this case the NBA, was fascinating to not only sports fans, but non-sports fans alike. And even made some of us kind of get into sports. I'm kind of getting more into sports thanks to a show like this. And some other things. But this, really helped. Because I was like, ooh, there's a business angle here? Tell me more. Like, I loved seeing, especially also being from New York, the evolution of Pat Riley before our eyes. I was, wow, look, it's Pat Riley. Oh, that's so cool. And then the real life drama behind the show. Oh, like when Jerry West threatened to sue the show because he didn't like the way he was being portrayed. Such a Jerry West thing to do. And then also the big one was that while nobody ever talked about Winning Time while it was on the air, when it got canceled, leading to a criminally sloppy rushed series finale ending with a Lakers loss, well, suddenly all these fans popped out of the woodwork on social media, absolutely devastated that Winning Time didn't get at least one more season to finish things up right. One could argue that it's fitting that Winning Time went out on a scenario that could come from the show itself. But as I said, damn, what a travesty of justice. Oh, so sad. I really feel they should have given him one more season. Hopefully, the incredible cast, including some new talent like Quincy Isaiah and Solomon Hughes, will get other opportunities. Oh, if you haven't watched Winning Time, go back and watch it. It's on Max, at least for now, before Zazie pulls it, or accidentally pulls it and then puts it back when everybody complains. Number 4, Beef, Netflix. Ah, what a ride. Where this show starts and where it ends, Tarantino-esque, my friend. Tarantino-esque. In fact, the show is so good that Kevin Feige, yoink, picked all the key people in front of and behind the camera to do Thunderbolts. Except for Ali Wong. Why you gotta do Ali Wong like that, man? Give her a cameo. I sure hope she has a cameo, because otherwise it's just cruel. But at least she's winning a lot of awards for her performance here, which she totally deserves. The series not only shines a light on Asian American culture, but portrays a type of anger that eats away at you that I think a lot of people can relate to right now. Wong's Amy also adds an interesting element of the sadness, resentment, and loneliness felt by some career women. Really compelling and interesting show. The entire cast is incredible, including, unfortunately, David Cho, who caused a lot of problems for this show when it was, I think it was either a shocking confession or a very disturbing joke. But either way, it resurfaced when the show dropped. And, some people took issue with how the show handled addressing this very disturbing development. So season 2 hasn't been officially confirmed yet, despite the creators saying that they have ideas for multiple seasons. And the show has tons of accolades. So I think that deciding what to do about Cho, and maybe also the Thunderbolts movie, but I think that might be a big part of why they haven't officially renewed it for season 2. And I don't think you can include Cho going forward. I don't think it should kill the show. I think they could have handled it a little bit better. And again, as I said, you just can't continue with his character. All right, number 3, The Bear, season 2, Hulu. The first season of The Bear was amazing, but it wasn't really on everyone's radar until season 2, where that all changed. And the show just blew up. They were both even a binge model, by the way. But when this show dropped, oh, it was incredible. I was like the heyday of Netflix binging. Netflix binging hasn't quite been the same, except for, I'd say, for maybe like the biggest shows like Stranger Things and Wednesday and stuff like that. This was at that level. And from Hulu. So Hulu was like, woohoo! And it put all the main cast members at the top of Hollywood's wish list, particularly Jeremy Allen White, Ayo Edebiri, although she's getting a ton of stuff already, and then Ibn Mas Barak, who I think deserves a lot of attention. He's so good, particularly in season 2, the episode Forks. incredible. Also, I know some people who just went and watched that episode. Although you got to also watch the Christmas flashback special because it has so many guest stars. More evidence that this show has really become super hot. All these actors wanted to be on it. Everyone has always loved cooking shows, particularly reality cooking shows. I think cooking shows that are, movies and shows that are fictional have not had quite the same success. But I think that what helps this show is it focuses on the stress of being a professional cook and aspiring restaurateur. So again, it's that business discussion a little bit, how it works, the ins and outs of it. But I also think The Bear highlights the people drawn to the world of cuisine, like in a way that, you think reality TV would, maybe that's one of the reasons reality shows about cooking are so popular. I don't watch them, so I'd be curious what you like about them. I think a lot of it is, wanting to cook yourself. But here, to see the people drawn to the, professional cuisine and how thanks to the excellence and the attention to detail, that's right, the attention to detail that it demands, I think it can often help people to focus and even in some ways reshape their lives. It's very much a way back for many people, which I think is amazing. That's my 10 through 3. So as for my top 2, it's all HBO, baby. They started premium TV, and while the field has certainly become not only more crowded but more competitive, there's really good stuff out there. HBO, in my opinion, still is holding on to their crown. I suspect a lot of us will have the same top 2, but the order, it's interesting. I just recently reviewed The Crown, and I didn't include it on here. I guess because I did say that it was my least favorite, and I guess it was just, in my opinion, more of the same. I really loved it, but it was just, it was more of the same. And I think these things are a little bit more unique. That's interesting. All right, so anyway, as I said, these lists are hard to make, especially in the TV space these days. All right, so I suspect a lot of us will have the same top 2, but where we might differ is the order. All right, so for me, number 2, runner-up, is The Last of Us, HBO Max. Not only is this show a gripping apocalyptic western, it's gripping, but it has helped usher in the age of video games in Hollywood. Finally, Hollywood has been trying for decades to woo the huge video game audience, and they've mostly failed in spectacular fashion. But then they had the bold idea of working in tandem with video game creators, and that's proven to be the magic formula. Not only because the creators obviously know their product, but it makes the fans feel more at ease and that the adaptations are more authentic. It goes a long way with the fans. Pedro Pascal finally got to show his face as another daddy and became a household name. You're going to be seeing him everywhere for the next few years. He has so many projects lined up, and he might even be joining the MCU. And what The Last of Us did for LGBT representation in popular entertainment, not only iconic, but important. Really, really tremendous gains. Co-creator Craig Mazin is promising not just 1, but 2 more seasons, and that's probably in an effort to get around the shocking events in the video game's 1 sequel, which did not go over very well with fans. It'll be interesting to see if Mazin and Neil Druckmann can right a wrong without, dissing themselves, especially because Druckmann stands by his work, or at least he says he does. Here's hoping that the Abby casting is really good. I really want Katie O'Brien to get it. There's rumors going around that it's already been cast, but I would like it to be Katie O'Brien. And I will not feel good until, it hasn't been officially cast. And so I'm still holding out hope for O'Brien. She's perfect for the role. She's from, the Star Wars Disney Plus shows. Oh, she's so good. She also was in Quantumania, but, she's much better in the Star Wars shows. All right, and then the best show of 2023, in my opinion, by far, is Succession Season 4, HBO Max. It was close with these two, it really was, but I ultimately put Succession on top because for me, Episode 3 was just so good. It lit the internet, for everybody, it lit the internet on fire as it unfolded, with many rightfully declaring it the best single episode of TV since Breaking Bad's Ozymandias. Now, I won't ruin what happens for you in the episode in case you don't watch Succession. It does have a smaller audience than, say, The Last of Us. By the way, it was very impressive that what happened in this episode did not leak. Maybe because of the type of show that Succession is. But that really helped to really make it such a glorious episode. It was riveting television, and it perfectly captured the shock of what unfolded. Oh, it was amazing. Also, they did work to also avoid leaks. They did some cloak and dagger kind of stuff, and it worked for once. So that's refreshing. Also, while The Last of Us still has story to tell, 2 more seasons, Succession is done. Logan Roy was succeeded. And in a manner that, like the show itself, was brutally honest about how business actually works. Some people were very upset about it, but it was so accurate as to how things would actually go down. I loved it. Really, Succession is a modern Sopranos. How fitting, because that, of course, was the first HBO premium TV show. With capitalism stepping in for the mob, which I guess is even scarier because the Succession family is, like, legit. Writing, acting, directing, political, and social commentary, particularly in this final season. That election episode, whoo, so amazing. It doesn't get better than this. So those are my top 10 shows of 2023, with, The Crown and A Poker Face getting honorable mention. I look forward to hearing your own lists down below. You can throw some honorable mentions in there yourself, because there was a lot this year. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.